Good evening, Gunny Bedford families, and welcome back to another exciting edition of GB Reads. Tonight, we are going to finish our final section of the book Ghost. Let's get started, shall we? Sonny, what's up, man? We dapped. This is my mom and my aunt and my cousin King. Sonny shook everybody's hand, then told me to come get stretched and warmed up. My family lined up along the fence, and who I guessed were the parents of the rest of my teammates. I saw Sonny's father, Mr. Lancaster, still dressed up in a suit, but the sunglasses on. Patty's white mother holding her little sister, Maddie, up on her shoulders. Lou's mom was there holding pom-poms. Of course, and next to her was a man who looked just like Goose, the flashy dope man who hangs out at the basketball court. But it wasn't. At least I didn't think it was. Could it have been? When Sonny and I got to where the rest of the team was, everyone was sitting down with their legs out in front of them, holding the tips of their feet and pulling. It hurts like crazy, but Coach said it was good for us. The team looked at me as I sat down. They all noticed the uniform and the silver bullets. I was dressed. I was a defender. I was ready. Okay, Coach said, needing to speak much louder than usual so that we could hear him over the noise. I've got the lineup. Let's start with the distance race. Running the mile, we have Sonny for the guys, Lynn for the girls. For the 800, Mikey, you're taking Chris's place. Outlaw, you're second heat. For the girls, Patty, you got this. Deja, you got second heat. When Coach got to the 200 meter, he looked at me and Lou. Then he looked down at his clipboard, then back at us. Lou, you're going to take the 200, Coach said. And the 100? Lou held back a smile and nodded. Coach got me. I thought he was going to let me run, but I guess this was the real last part of my punishment. I tried to not act disappointed. I looked over at my family. King and Aunt Sophie holding the sign, wanting to lift it into the air and scream like maniacs, and Ma standing there, so proud of me. And Ghost, Coach said, glancing over at Coach Witt, then back at me. I snapped out of my trance. You think you can handle the 100 too? I grinned, and I couldn't get yes out of my mouth. Such a short, easy word, but I couldn't spit it out, so I just nodded and swallowed the eyes, hoping it might go down my throat, through my stomach guts, and down into my legs. We're not going to run any relays or hurdles yet, Coach said. This is the first meet, and we've got some work to do. But I'm watching every one of you, so let's get out here and burn. We all went to the side of the track and waited for our races. Everyone was so hyped, jumping around, trying to stay loose. Lou's mother came over and gave us a container full of orange slices, which I thought was super nice, but I didn't want any oranges. And I met Coach's wife, Miss Margot, and his baby son, Tyrone. The crazy thing was, even though Coach was an Otis and a chip-toothed turtle face, Miss Mango was pretty and so nice. She passed out Gatorades to everybody, but when she got to me, she thanked me for cleaning out Coach's cab. That made me feel real special. But I didn't really want no oranges or no Gatorade. I had my power pills, my sunflower seeds. I ran over to my mother, who had them tucked in her purse. She handed me the bag, then grabbed me and hugged me again. I'm so proud of you, she said. Then she caught me slipping and added, Ghost. She must have heard Sonny say it or somebody, but she now knew my nickname, the name I gave myself. And judging from her bright smile, I think she liked it. I had no idea that being on a team would make her so lovey-dovey, but it was cool. But it was cool. It reminded me of how it used to be, back when we slept in our rooms and there was family pictures on the wall. Back with the rest of the defenders. I ate the sunflower seeds one by one, waiting for my race, my chance. The first race was a relay, the boys 4x800. I got to just sit and watch to see how races really went down. Since we weren't running relays, runners from 8 different teams all lined up in their lines, staggered at different starting points. The Bruisers, the Wings, and a bunch of other silly names that were nowhere near as dope as the Defenders. Everybody put one foot forward, just barely touching the line. They leaned in some, wiggling their fingers. Then, and this caught me totally off guard, there's a gunshot, which is the thing that tells you to go. I'll tell you one thing, it made me feel a little weird, but whoever invented track got the whole gun means go thing right. The crowd started screaming as the boys burned the track up. One of the teams, I think they were called the Assassins, dropped the baton. It made a clinking sound, which in a nutshell is what losing sounded like. It's hard to come back from that. After the boys were the girls. Patty came over to me and told me how she felt like she could pretty much smoke all the girls out there. I believed her. Patty was definitely going to be a problem. Next was the boys' 100-meter hurdle, which was the most exciting thing I'd ever seen. It was crazy. I asked Coach if we were going to run hurdles, and he told me that we would, but that it takes some real work. He said the kids who left the team and went to high school, the kids whose spots we filled, were amazing hurdlers. Then he said he used to run hurdles while tapping his hand on his chest, his secret tattooed Olympic medal. I told him I wanted to do it. He told me to focus on today. Then came the girls' hurdles, which the crowd seemed to be even more than the boys. Patty was jumping up and down, screaming because one of her friends was running. The girl didn't win first, but she did come in second, which wasn't bad. And then came the 100-meter dash. Lou Ghost, Coach called out. Y'all ready? Me and Lou nodded, and Coach said what he always said, this time with a return nod. On the line. We stepped out on the track and walked down to the end. Lou's mom instantly started screaming and waving those stupid pom-poms. No clue what she was saying, but whatever it was loud. Until Aunt Sophie. C-A-S-T-L-E, Aunt Sophie screamed. Smoke 'em, burn 'em, dust 'em, roast 'em, she shrieked. It was like her and Lou's mom were a perfect out-of-control cheerleading pair. I looked over, and the king was holding the sign above his head. It said, Castle Cranshaw ain't no joke. You are. Nice. All the runners from all the different teams were slapping hands when I saw him. No way. No freaking way. He ran? By now you know who I'm talking about. Brandon Simmons. He was standing in lane 8, running for a team that called themselves the Bolts. He saw me the same time I saw him, and he looked just as shocked as I was. You run? I asked, coming toward him. Brandon was a runner? He was tall enough to play ball, so I always assumed that's what he did. Then again, I should have known better, because he had those slimy hands. Can't hold no ball with those button fingers. You run? He responded, wiping his hands ironically on his shorts. Then he smirked and shot breath out of his nose like he couldn't believe it, like I was some kind of joke, like he ain't seen that sign King was holding up. Yeah, Lou said from behind me. He put his hand on my shoulder. He runs real fast, he said, taunting Brandon. Lou pulled me into him, grabbed me by the back of my neck. It's me and you, he said, snapping me out of my Brandon Simmons nightmare state and back into focus. Had I known Brandon was a runner, I would have told Dre and Red to come to the meet just so they could see me smoke him. Shoot, I might have invited the whole school, even Principal Marshall. Maybe we would have told Shamika to bring that laugh with her for this special occasion. Lou gave me 5, then repeated, It's me, he pointed to himself, and you, he pointed on my chest. I was in lane 6, Lou in lane 1. I bent down, untied my silver shoes, then retied them. I looked around at the crowd, a smear of people rooting for their friend or son or brother or teammate. Somebody was probably there even rooting for Brandon. Then I looked over at the side where the defenders were, Coach clapping a proud grin on his face, Sonny cheering, an orange slice in his mouth, the peel like a bright mouthpiece, and Patty, who by the way had on shiny lip stuff and had her hair greased and slicked straight back, squatted down and stared, almost like she was mind-beaming speed to me. She nodded. I nodded. My mother looking at me with wet eyes. She waved. And all I could think about at that moment was the two of us running down the hall 3 years ago. On your mark, said the starter. My heart thumped, thumped, and I could feel my insides turning colors. I'm not sure what color, not red, not blue, something else, something different. A color I never felt before. I squatted down, pushed my feet back against the blocks, stretched out my thumbs and index fingers and placed them on the edge of the white starting line, rested my weight on my arms, closed my eyes, thought of us running to the door, running for our lives. Get set, said the starter. Butts in the air, the sound of the gun cocking, the sound of the door unlocking, heart pounding, breathe, silence, this is it, and then, boom! And that concludes the book Ghost. We hope you've had a fun time reading this book with us, and we thank all of you for enjoying and participating in this GB Reads